friends, this is the Cryptonian taking a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin currently at 29,261. You can see that we are just in sideways consolidation, not doing much. This is the 4-hour chart. And, the market is pretty much flat as far as Bitcoin goes and the large caps. Now, we do see a little bit of activity in the altcoins. Altcoin here, Aave up 4%, but we'll get to that in a little bit. That being said, not much to say. Just a quick update here. We are currently under the 200 and under the 50 right now, and we are seeing a little bit of sideways consolidation. So this could be the precursor before some significant pump to the upside. And you did see a pump here, but it really wasn't strong enough to move us up and hold above the 200 moving average. But on the 4-hour, you can see that we are actually, let me move this over a little bit and move this up a little bit. You can see here that we are over, or should I say above, the 28,664 level. This is where the yellow line here of support is. That yellow line is actually coming in, and I'll show you on the daily. That yellow line of support comes in way back here, okay, right here on price action. So this is that last area of support before we actually broke that and went right down to like 17,000. So Bitcoin is holding above that right now. And on the daily, Bitcoin's looking pretty good. On the 4-hour, it is officially bearish. 4-hour, the 50 is below the 200. That is an official bearish posture on the moving averages. And but here on the daily, things are looking pretty good actually. We're above, or should I say, we're around or slightly below the 50 moving average, and the 200 moving average is down here. 200 moving average coming in at 27,064. And our 0.5 Fibonacci is coming in at 28,300 roughly. This is going to be bullish support. And also this volume node here is showing that we do have some support down here. And so the 0.6 fib, the golden pocket, 27,500, this is expected to see some type of activity down here in this area, some buying interest from the bulls. One thing to be aware of is that we do have a line here. This is a resistance line, and this is from, let me show you, excuse me, this is a trend line from the bottom. We had the bottom, and then we had another bounce that created a trend line. That next bounce actually respected that trend line, and then here we are. We're getting ready to test that trend line once again. Now, a couple of scenarios. If we continue to go sideways here and meet that, push up, get rejected, and come down and break that, then that's going to be bearish. And then we'll see some type of a significant break to the downside. I'm not really expecting that. I mean, if we do have a break to the downside, we're probably going to test maybe the 200, or maybe even down here, a double bottom around 25,000, 26 in this area. But I just don't think that we're going to have a real big breakdown. We don't see a lot of interest in selling right now. And so I'm not really expecting a huge breakdown. I think what's happening is, the larger players, they're in for the long term, like Michael Saylor, and they're in for the long term. Kathy Woods with ARK Invest, they're in for the long term, waiting for the next cycle to kick off. And so you don't see, I don't think we're going to see much of a push to the downside. I mean, we've seen the bears come in on a small level, and they were able to move these prices down a little bit, but that's really not really significant. When we take a look at the volatility, let's change this here. When we take a look at the volatility mod, Cryptonian volatility mod, great tool. We are, on the daily, we're just terribly, terribly low on the volatility, and that's coming in at 5.2, which is ridiculously low. Now, we did have an expansion. That expansion was a low volatility expansion, and that's this drift down here in prices. And yes, we are currently on a S2 confirmation of downtrend, but we're not seeing any fear in the market where people are selling off. Now, if we break that trend line, that may happen, and then we may see prices come down to that 27,000 area where the 200 moving average is, and then possibly a lot of people would actually get nervous and then sell, and then the large players would buy that, but not really sure if that's going to even happen right now. Excuse me. MACD currently in posture to cross over in a bullish fashion and move higher. So this is kind of what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing is on the daily for Bitcoin is that all of this is just pretty much consolidation in light of price action and historical price movements and where we are in this cycle here as far as the macro picture, the macro structure. We did not break structure yet on the daily, so we're strong. That doesn't mean that we can't, that just means that we haven't done so yet. So this is my thought. We have some news coming up. We have, let's see, inflation rate year over year is coming up on August 10th. That's in 6 days. That's significant, right? The year over year inflation rate will affect the market most likely. And so we may see a lot of just sideways action until that time, until we get that data, get that news. And if it's not too bad, we may even see a push to the upside. Now, you have to ask yourself in these situations, where is the liquidity? Well, the liquidity is to the upside. The liquidity is all the way up here, right? Excuse me. So what we've seen is just a lot of shorts piling up. And if we have a lot of shorts up in this area, basically in this 30,300 range right here, this is where that node is, then quite possibly the play is to the upside to tap into that liquidity. Because right here on the pullback, you probably have a lot of people buying, and then if the bulls can then push the price up past this area up into resistance, then you'll actually force those short sellers to exit their positions. To do that, they need to buy, and then buying, those short sellers buying would give an exit opportunity, exit liquidity for the bulls. Okay, that's usually how it works. So that being said, if we don't see a significant breakdown by next week, by Monday, Tuesday, most likely, statistically speaking, we're probably going to push up at least to the 30,500 level. That's kind of what I'm thinking. And it just depends on how strong the bears are, how much they want to fight the bulls with this, and if there are any large players, any whales or, excuse me, funds or anything like that, that's willing to really push Bitcoin up into this upper resistance level of 31,800, 31,900. So that's just what I'm thinking is our volumes here are extremely low, volatility extremely low. We don't have fear in the market. So that means a lot of people are not selling. They're looking forward to higher prices. And that being said, that's really kind of what I'm expecting. I'm expecting the market, the bulls, to at least make an effort to push things higher, and that could actually start next week, or probably on the day of August 10th or shortly thereafter, after the market digests the inflation information, economic data. Taking a look at RSI on the daily is 44. 44 on the daily is a little weak, a little bit below midline, nothing serious. EMA trend is bearish, and we know that because we have a S2 confirmation of a bearish trend now. But even though it's bearish, we don't see any real big uh, selling off here in fear. We had a push higher, and then that reversed, but Bitcoin is still in this suspended animation mode. It's like a stable coin, right? DMA trend is bullish, and that's because we had this push higher. That DMA trend, I am expecting that to change to bearish shortly. And again, in consolidation, we see this go bullish, flash bullish, and bearish quite often. We're in contraction. We did discuss that. We're in reversal. We did discuss that. And our volatility is very low. It's below 5 on the daily, which is just crazy. It's like a stable coin. Now, I said we would take a look at some of the other markets. Aave looking like it put in a little bit of a bounce here. Reason is the golden pocket is right here at $62.62. This is the golden pocket, so that's why we're seeing a little bit of buying interest here. We have a pin bar here, or what's similarly called a hammer. Or actually, that's not a hammer, that's a dragonfly. Let me look at here at this. Okay, that's a dragonfly here, and a dragonfly is an indication of bullish activity or an attempt at bullish activity. And then we have this green candle today putting Aave up 4%. This is the area where if we will go higher with Bitcoin, I'm expecting this price area to hold. And this is where we could see some sideways consolidation. And we do see a volume node coming in here, but it's not as much as what we've seen in these higher areas, right? So that being said, just have to be patient. We can actually draw a trend line here from here to here. And a break above that trend line, a break and close on the daily above that trend line would be bullish behavior and an expectation to push up and retest that $79, $80 price point. 42 is the RSI on Aave, and the EMA is bearish, the DMA is bearish. But if we go sideways here, I'm expecting the DMA to start flipping bullish. That'll be an early reversal sign. Whether it will actually reverse or not depends on Bitcoin. Expansion, we're currently in expansion to the downside, I would imagine. Let me look here. Yeah. So from here, from the signal on down, this is an expansion to the downside. However, we did get, it was very short-lived. We then received a yellow color changed to yellow from blue to yellow, and that shows that that move is over. So the impulse to the downside is over. We could see a little bit of sideways consolidation in price, and potentially if Bitcoin, so eventually if Bitcoin holds where it's at and doesn't collapse, then Aave quite possibly just could go sideways here and then try to break out when Bitcoin moves higher. Volatility 21, so it is significant. It's enough to hold this area, but we're currently in a reversal, so probably won't get much in the way of a breakout to the upside, but we could see some consolidation. And we're again above the daily pivot and the support prices. Now, taking a look at CoinGecko, we can see that the markets are pretty just flat. Bitcoin 0.2% loss, Ethereum is a 1.5% loss, and you can see that even with Ethereum, because Ethereum is an altcoin, Ethereum, whenever Bitcoin has any move to the downside or any losses, those are compounded by Ethereum and other altcoins. And whenever we take a look down here on the chart, XRP down 6.8% for the week, Lido down 1.4% for the week, Dogecoin 3.3% for the week, Cardano down 5% for the week, Solana down 5%, Tron down 7%, Polkadot down 4%. So Polygon down 5%. But if we go down far enough, we can see that although we have large caps losing for the week in a downtrend, which is expected because of Bitcoin, we do see down farther below the smaller caps are actually, they're running, right? Optimism up 16%, Maker up 14%, XDC up 30%, Caspa up 25%. And so this goes to show you that these smaller coins, the altcoins, whenever Bitcoin, and I've said this in many videos before, whenever Bitcoin is stable and boring, that's when altcoins start to move. And that's because the traders move from the large caps to the mid caps to the small caps, and they have their moves, right? So Flexcoin 46% up on the week. But the thing about altcoins is that you never know which one's going to run, right? You have to really be careful. For example, ApeCoin down 7.3%, Decentraland down 4.6%, while at the same time Flexcoin is up 46%. So you have to really understand what the narrative is. So that being said, that's pretty much what's going on in the top 100. Down here, Conflux up 6% and Trust Wallet up 3%. However, Compound down 17% for the week. So you gotta be really careful, especially now in this type of market. If you're in an altcoin and you're in profit, I can't give you investment advice, but in my opinion, I'd take the profit. I'd take the profit. Unless you're looking at something for a long-term investment, and that's risky now because you just don't know what's going to happen with regulation. So, taking a look at Bitcoin liquidity and the order book, let's see what's happening here. 6 Bitcoin shorting against 3 Bitcoin purchasing. We have selling outweighing purchasing by almost 2 to 1. Okay. So we do see a little bit of buying here in this area, and I think it's, these large institutions, what they do is they just slowly buy over time. And here's the point, right? You want, going back to Bitcoin, you want Bitcoin. If you're a large player, you want to let Bitcoin go sideways and get boring. Because what happens is you get a lot of short sellers building up in these areas, putting in their orders, and that is your liquidity. So as you buy in, or actually most likely you have bought in down here and average down your price. So when you're ready to push the market for profit, you go into that liquidity, force them out of their positions, and then they will provide the purchasing from you as they're exiting their short selling positions. That's how that works. Okay. So, if we do not see some type of a drop, some type of a significant move to the downside, it's possible, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's possible that we could see a push to the upside next week or sometime around the year over year inflation data coming out, economic data. We could see some type of a push to the upside into that liquidity, because we're just not seeing any real serious desire to sell right now. It's going to take a serious, like, black swan event to put fear into the market so people sell, right? So Bitcoin dominance is coming down slightly, but it has leveled off here. And so that's significant. And then taking a look at NASDAQ. Where's our NASDAQ here? NASDAQ. Okay, let's go up to here. And then we will look at NASDAQ. So Here's the NASDAQ 100. NASDAQ 100, like I've said before, is starting to pull back into that 30 moving average. Now, if it does fail and move down to the 50, then that could hold Bitcoin back. That could actually cause Bitcoin to either go sideways or down. And we've discussed this at great length in previous videos that whenever the NASDAQ uh, and NASDAQ and Bitcoin, they're correlated most of the time, more often than not, because Bitcoin is considered, it trades like a tech stock because it's technology, it's blockchain technology. There we go. And so what we see on the daily is we see that we are having weakness. We do see that can have a possible push to the downside. And we're really due for that because we're up at resistance. And I've said that before. Being at resistance right here, you can see all of this is resistance. And that's where we're at right now, right? I've talked about this, we're overbought, expensive, relatively speaking. We're seeing these red, pink circles appear. Just had some at these levels here that we just pulled away from. And so this shows that we are, we either need to consolidate to reset the indicators, or we need to, which is going sideways, or we need to have a pullback. So where would that pullback be? Well, in the short term, the 50 for the NASDAQ, 15,022, and then the 200 at 13,611. So that being said, we could see some boring sideways action. Again, it is August, and August is usually flat, right? So I'm not expecting too much. Not expecting too much. And so you can see here on the altcoins, everything's pretty much flat as well. No real big movers on these, except for when you go to CoinGecko and you see those far down on the 100 list. They're taking some moves. Anyway, that is it, my friends. We have Bitcoin not doing much, and we have the NASDAQ getting ready to pull back. We have economic data coming, so I don't think there's much that's going to happen with Bitcoin. Could have a small push to the upside, next week ahead of inflation data, but that's not guaranteed. Chances are we'll probably still be going sideways, right? But the chances to an upside or downside move are in favor of the bulls to an upside move when getting into next week if we don't have a significant pullback or breakdown. And I don't think we will. Thank you, friends, for watching. I appreciate your time. Please click like. It helps others see this content and they can be helped by it. Remember, not investment advice, educational and entertainment purposes only. And yeah, so we'll see you in the next video. Subscribe if you haven't already for further videos. Thanks, friends. Take care.